Hello everyone, my name is Tris, but you can call me B. Now this is a bit different to my other videos so far on my channel. By that I mean one, because this is a voiceover and it's also on my bedroom floor. We're going to be painting a t-shirt today. There's the original design. So, before I get into the rant that this video was supposed to be about, I want to talk about the t-shirt that I am painting. It's for a local band called DBA. I'm painting a design inspired by their debut EP cover, Skip Worried, which comes out on April 29th. And it's also the cover of their single D.P.D. Now, I heard D.P.D back in December when they played the Casimir Stockroom, and it had been stuck in my head ever since. So when I found out it had come out and I heard it, I was obsessed, and I created this little t-shirt design inspired by it. So yeah, shameless plug, go check out DBA. I think they're a really good band. They've got 3 songs out, but I think they're all incredible songs. So, now to the point of this. I originally tried filming a video like this, facing the camera, dyeing my hair, because the video I want to talk about self-expression. Now, before my friends point us out in the comments, because I promise you, someone will. This is heavily inspired by the Weekly Slap. If you've never checked out the Weekly Slap, very good commentary videos by J Slap. Anyway, I could think of no better way to talk about self-expression than through watching me paint a custom T-shirt. Self-expression is something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. You know, even looking at the way I dress, it is very against the grain. And honestly, at this point, I'd have it no other way. It's not just a part of me, it's a conversation starter. It's part of my family. We all dress a bit differently. And at the same time, it is also a form of rebellion. I mean, I want to go into business. I want to study business. And to dress alternative and want to study business, it's kind of different. And part of that I really like. Now, I always use this phrase and I hate it, but we live in a really media saturated world. Short form content like TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, even, it's created this really short attention span. We all know this. We all know this really short attention span. But in my eyes, it's also ruined how we view self expression. People think they're being self expressive when in reality, they're just following these little micro trends and aesthetics that pop up every other month. I mean, think about the last year: Rockstar Girlfriend, Downtown Girl, Grunge, Office Siren, Coquette. Trends like that pop up and die the next month, but people buy into them and think they're, well, unique for it. People who have had this style for months can go from being ridiculed to now being trendy and cool because this is what TikTok deems the cool hip thing for the moment, which made me sound like an old man saying that. And at a push, I've had that happen myself. You know, I used to wear leather jackets and denim jackets and be called kind of weird for dressing differently. You know, wearing a chain on my jacket wasn't cool. It was maybe a dirty, greasy mosher and an emo. And you get those girls who always kind of like compliment you in a jokey way. If you dress alternative, you probably had something like that happen to you. They'll say how cool you are, but you can tell they're joking. But as soon as a style like that becomes popular, you are genuinely now cool to them for that 2 week period, and then you go back to not being it. And that is the main difference between people who follow these trends and people who genuinely enjoy dressing like this. They have a genuine love for it and they don't care what people think. At a push, I kind of always did care what people think. It was a really bad habit of mine, always caring what other people who I couldn't care less about thought about me. But recently I've adopted the idea of just not caring. The only people's opinion I really care about are my parents and my friends. Who cares about what the popular kids or random people on the internet think about how you dress? I've had people call me horrible things in TikTok comment sections, saying that I look greasy, that I look like I don't shower, that I'm an emo, that I'm all these things just because I like to dress a little bit alternative. Not even that much alternative in most of the videos where stuff like this was commented. But saying that, I am very lucky. You know, I grew up in a family where both my mum and my stepdad were very alternative. You know, they've both got a lot of tattoos, piercings, and like heavier music. So it was kind of granted that I would become that. People who don't grow up in families where that sort of style is encouraged, dressing how they want can be stressful and nerve wracking. I always remember this one TikTok I saw, and it was someone in like the goth community saying that if, you know, you're not in a safe environment to dress goth, then you shouldn't. You should dress as normal as possible. And at a push, I agree, but at the same time, I really, really do disagree. Yes, you shouldn't dress overly alternative if you know that you're gonna go out and get beaten up, but at the same time, it's gonna always be that way unless someone changes it. And that takes confidence. And if you don't have that confidence, that idea may be absolutely terrifying. But hear me out now. Fake it. I've been faking my confidence since I was like 13 or 14. I do not feel confident. But at the end of the day, faking it is genuinely the only way to make it. And maybe you can take this toxic mentality that I always remember my mum saying to me when I was younger, which is they're just being mean to you because they're jealous of you. I've spoke to so many of my friends who dress alternative who have had the same mantra said to them by parents. They're just saying that because they're jealous. And you know what? Maybe take it to heart. Someone makes fun of you for having dyed hair or weird makeup. They're just jealous. And probably at a push, they are because they didn't have the confidence to go against the grain. And I'm not gonna sit here and preach like I haven't had things happen to me because I dress alternative. I've had the general, being barked at, being bullied, being called Nemo. I've had that. I've had the sexualization of dressing slightly alternative and people wanting a goth girlfriend. I've had that. I've had that happen to me. And it's not a good feeling. But you shouldn't let it dictate you as a person. Use another phrase that I always whip out and I hate. I always, like media saturated world, I always seem to whip this one out. And it is that in the grand scheme of things, we're not on this earth for very long. At a push, 85 years. Grand scheme of things, the earth's been around for millions of years. Do what you want. Shave your head, dye it a random colour, get piercings. Who cares? Because at least when you're old and decrepit, you can say, I had fun. Back to TikTok. I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok. I can go on TikTok and I can find my lovely edits of men who are 3 times my age, and I can go, yeah, okay. But I can also go on TikTok and be absolutely hateful, filled with hate, filled with so much hate. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not a victim of finding aesthetics through TikTok. I will admit this now. I love the indie sleaze aesthetic, and I found it through TikTok. I mean, it was massive, and I've kind of ran with it. I love wearing colourful tights and so much glitter on my eyes to the point that I still have it on my eyes 5 days later. But I'm trying really hard to not let it be a short-lived thing. These micro aesthetic trends that I mentioned earlier go hand in hand with sites like Shein and Temu and AliExpress. It's a problem that is fueled by another problem. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be the perfect person. I have bought stuff off Shein in the past and probably will in the future because let's be honest, if I'm going to wear tights when I'm drunk, they're going to get ripped in about 2 seconds. So Shein is just an easy way for me to get said tights. You buy into these micro trends, you have to be a very conscious shopper. I think that's the right phrase. I try and buy from Vinted and eBay and charity shops as much as possible. I mean, I've grown up shopping at charity shops, and I used to be bullied for shopping at charity shops, which is ridiculous now because Vinted and selling on Vinted and selling on Depop is such a big deal, and Y2K and vintage is such a big deal. I got made fun of for wearing vintage clothes when I was like 10. Let myself get a bit angry there. The rage of 10-year-old me came out. If you look at subcultures like punk and basically just older subcultures, so much of it was DIY, and we've kind of lost that. And that's why I really do enjoy customizing my clothes. And I would encourage anyone to customize their clothes. Not only is it a really, really fun creative outlet, it is also quite cheap. I got this t-shirt in, I think it was some sort of dead stock pack. I think it was a pack of 3, and they were a tenner. Paint's cheap, cheap paintbrushes, cheap palette, creativity, fun fact, is free. This is not me saying, by the way, that I'm better than any of you because I have some sort of creativity or I, customize my clothes. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not. But I think everyone should just genuinely customize clothes. My favourite songs at the moment is Uniform by Block Party, and the first lyrics are, there was a sense of disappointment when we left the mall, all the young people looked the same, or something along those lines. Wanna know when that song came out? 2007, the year I was born. but I think it rings more true than ever. Not me trying to, put down other girls or say, "Oh, I'm not like other girls." No, I just think everyone looks the same now. Maybe it's because everyone taps into those microtrends I mentioned earlier, or everyone shops at the same sites. Pretty Little Thing, who probably don't count anymore considering their recent rebrand, or Zara and H&M. Part of me does find it really depressing though when I go out and everyone just looks like carbon copies of each other. My best friend and I always get ready together before parties or gigs, and I think we have the same conversation every time, which is, are other people like, do other people find it this fun getting ready? When you look like everyone else, can you find joy and excitement from, you know, just getting ready? Me and Storm, my best friend, we always put on Arctic Monkeys and Maneskin's Rush and Riot Girl music, and we just have a good time when we get ready. And we always go, "Oh, how can I put a chain on this? How can I add more jewelry to this? How can I do this outfit? Oh, can we just cut this so I can, you know, change how this is gonna look tonight?" I honestly can't even remember now the amount of times I've been crouched on the floor cutting a back of a dress or sewing a back of a dress because it's the last minute spurred moment. This would look good if we do this now, and I cannot change my mind. And I'm not gonna say there's like a beauty in being alternative, but when you have to actually think about putting an outfit together and you can't just go on Pinterest and copy the first thing you see, there's a lot more fun that comes out of it. Again, that links to customizing clothes. Yes, I'll happily go on Pinterest for inspiration for designs, vintage designs and vintage posters and old band posters from the 90s. But at the end of the day, I have to put those ideas together myself. Especially like the shirt I'm painting now, DBA have been a band for I think a year, 3 songs out, which is 3 single covers. There's not a lot of like content to work with. I had to use my brain. I had to use their lyrics. I had to use the one single cover I could replicate, and I had to come up with something myself because I wanted merch that they didn't have yet. Now, I do feel like a bit of a dick when I paint designs for quite niche bands. DBA, very niche band. One of my favourite jackets has a design on the back for, ironically, a band called The Front, who were only around for about 3 years in the 1980s. And they're from New York in 1989. How do I know about them? It's a long story. But no one will look at that and know who they are. And part of me really likes that. Favorite band is the Mysterines, for example. I have a tattoo for them. And even though they supported the Arctic Monkeys on their last stadium tour, they're still quite a niche band. And whenever I see someone wearing their merch, I feel like I'm part of like some secret club. And I always make a point of going up to them, being like, "I love your shirt," because not a lot of people are knocking about who are Mysterines fans. And I think that's that beauty in self expression, liking bands who aren't that popular, even though it might take a bit of effort to find said bands and follow the said bands because they're not doing massive stadium tours like artists like Coldplay and Taylor Swift. There's still something really nice. Those are people like me and you. They're normal people, but they're here trying to do something with their music. They're not selling out stadiums, they're not worth millions of pounds. They are just the average Joe. And you're probably wondering, where is this point going? I'll tell you. People making small bands and trying to do something is the essence of self expression in its finest. They are unhappy with what music is being made and they think, I can do something better than this. I can make the music I want to hear, and they just do it because they can. That, in my brain, is the purest, best form of self expression. I can sit here till kingdom come, painting my little t shirts and, liking my niche little bands. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be doing that without said niche little bands. And now this rant has completely changed its course because I have to say the sentiment everyone says, which is support smaller artists. Record labels don't care about people doing something creative, they care about what makes money. And again, it links back to TikTok. Think about how many artists, small independent artists, who have got big because TikTok has picked up their song. But there's an issue in that themselves. TikTok and people that find music through TikTok mostly care about that one 30-second clip from that song. And Only really that song. They don't care about other songs artists put out. Crawlers, for example, another band from around where I live, they got massive on TikTok from their song Come Over Again. You probably heard it, the one that goes, take her name out of your mouth. None of their songs perform at that level. And this isn't me saying that other songs are bad. Their other songs are good. They've got songs, in my opinion, a lot better than Come Over Again. But because that one song got big on TikTok, that's the song everyone cares about. Maybe this is an anti-TikTok rant. That's what it sounds like. I've just been complaining a lot about TikTok and micro trends and how TikTok reacts to independent artists. But TikTok is good. I'm not gonna sit here and just shit on TikTok all day. I enjoy it. I spend more time on there than I should. But you shouldn't mold your whole life around it. I think that's the biggest sentiment from this. You shouldn't mold your whole life around what other people want you to be, what TikTok says you should be, what your parents, what your friends say you should be. You should mold your life around what your brain says you should be. Sorry to interrupt my rant, but I'm just watching. What is this weird little stippling I'm doing? So, if you're gonna take anything from this video, um, don't buy into microtrends. People say that every day, but it still happens. And me saying this in a video to my 16 subscribers is not going to change that. People are still going to buy into these dumb little trends. But I think you should be more conscious about it. Don't buy into the full trend. For example, you like Rockstar's Girlfriend because of the cool leather jackets. You want a cool leather jacket. Just buy a cool leather jacket. Don't get the mini skirts and fishnet tops and the knee high boots that come with that aesthetic. Just get a cool jacket. Go on Vinted. Vintage leather jackets are unique, number one, and they're vintage. They're going to last forever because they already have lasted forever, especially if they're real leather. At the end of the day, we're all just a little jigsaw of things that we like that we've pieced together over time. Anyway, my t-shirt is finished. Do you like it? I hope you do. The band does. The band have told me they like it, so if you've got this far, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my dumb little rant. Please subscribe if you liked it, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Go stream D.P.D by DBA. Do it now. Click off YouTube, go to Spotify or Apple Music, and stream the song.